Hello, my amigas. So today I'm wondering, are you a nasty friend? If you don't know what that means, stay tuned. It's not as bad as it sounds. So I recently was introduced to the concept of nasty friend. The concept of nasty friend means having a friend that will really tell you the truth when you need to hear it. Like, I have a couple friends in my life that have vowed and promised to tell me when I start going over the top with crazy eye makeup looks and too many big sparkly stars on me, they're gonna say, Mary, you need to shut this down. So a nasty friend is really a friend who will give you the honest truth. So I had a conversation with a colleague of mine a couple days ago, and he doesn't work for littlestar, but he does a lot of work for littlestar. So he's very familiar with littlestar and knows what we're about and knows about ABA. And he was telling me about he had a friend who had a 7-year-old with autism, and how his friend really felt like they couldn't leave the house with their child with autism because the child really struggled with being out of the house. He couldn't go to the supermarket, he couldn't go to the grocery store. And my friend was just explaining to me, how bad he felt for his friend who had a child with autism and how they were struggling. And I said, well, they need to come to littlestar and we can work on that. And then my friend said, well, they go to another center in a city nearby and they're really happy with that center. So I thought for a second and I said to my friend, I said, you might need to be a nasty friend. You might need to challenge your friend, the dad of this little guy with autism, and ask him, why do you love your ABA center? Because to me, it seems like if this child is so, afraid to leave the house or, go out into the public, and this family is almost being held hostage by them, that's something that their ABA center should be working on. Now, I don't know the whole story. Perhaps the child's only been at this center for a few months. Perhaps they want to wait till COVID's over. There's a lot of details I don't know. But I did challenge my friend. I said, you might need to be a nasty friend and really ask your friend, why do you love your ABA center? And I hear this a lot of times. Families will just say, oh, I love my ABA provider. And I'll say, why? And they'll be like, no, they love my child. They're so nice. They're so kind. And they really give me a lot of emotional answers. And while that's so wonderful, like at littlestar, we totally strive to be the soft spot where a family can fall at the end of the day. And we love their child and we love their family. And we are kind and caring. Really, when the rubber hits the road, our job is to challenge that child and get that child to do things that he hasn't been able to do in the past, such as go out to a restaurant or go into public. So I am challenging you and asking you to think, do you love your ABA provider? And if you do, why? Is it because they're kind and they're nice and your child doesn't have any meltdowns and has really good days there? Or is it because they're kind and they're nice and they're lovely people that care for your child, and your child is making great progress, and they're asking you, what's meaningful to you? What can we do to make your life better? Because I can sit and set goals for a child and say, he needs to work this, this, and this. But I, as a professional, should be asking, what's meaningful to you and to your family? And for this family that my friend is talking about, obviously getting their child out into restaurants, into stores, and out into the public is going to be meaningful to them. So that's what they should be working on. And so it's so hard, and I know, just as a parent of a child with autism, I love the people and I want people to love my child and appreciate him and be kind and caring. But I also need to make sure that they are stretching him, that they are not just tiptoeing around him, making sure that he doesn't have a bad day or, get upset, because I say this all the time, and I've said it a million times. If a child has a great day at Little Star, great, they've had a great day at Little Star, but they also need to be having a great day in the car, at Target, at grandma's house, in the grocery store. They need to be having great days everywhere, not just in the ABA center when their therapist is around. They need to have great days everywhere. They need to generalize that behavior everywhere. So while a lot of times I think a great day to parents means, that my child didn't get upset, that he was happy all day, yes, that's nice to hear. But if a child is just having great days and never being upset, to me it sounds like he's not being pushed, he's not being challenged. And remember, our job is to help remediate the symptoms of autism, which are social, communications, and repetitive behaviors. And we need to stretch that child. A child can be 7 and be at home and live with mom and dad, but what happens when this child is 17 and we want to get him out and into a job or into another living situation and have friends? If we don't start working with this child early, and 7 is prime time, baby, if we don't get him out into the world now and get him comfortable and confident in those aspects of the world, it's only going to be harder as he gets older. And so yes, he might have some not so great days, some days where he does get upset, some days where he does protest, some days where he does have to do things that he doesn't want to. But we all have days like that, and that is how we grow. We grow with challenges, and we grow with change. We grow by trying new things and trying and practicing. And again, we always need to keep in mind that that's what we need to do with our children with disabilities. We can keep them in a cocoon and not put any challenges on them and not put any demands on them, but that's really not going to serve them. It might seem that it's kind, but it's really not. It's almost like a paradox. Being kind and keeping them comfortable and feeling good all the time, in the end, is going to have a really negative effect. It's not going to allow them to go out and be in the world and make friends and live up to their true, full potential. And of course, that's what we want. So with my friend, I said, I challenge you to be a nasty friend and go and ask your friend about all these things. Ask him, are they challenging his child? Are they helping to get that little guy out into the world so he can live his fullest, best life? And again, I think that's what I want to just remind all of you, is your child being challenged. If he's being coddled and handled with kid gloves, that's not the best thing for him. He needs to be challenged and grow like anybody else. So this just makes me think of a story. One of my very good amigas, she was getting remarried, and she wanted her son with autism, who was about 17 at the time, to walk her down the aisle. And that was really hard for her son to do, to be in front of a lot of people, to have to, go down an aisle, to not talk and ask questions, just to have to do something. And we really stretched him. The team got into the church and practiced with him. And sure enough, when it came time to walk his mom down the aisle, he was able to do that. And it's just one of my favorite memories of all times. The curtains were pulled and the beautiful bride was going to walk down the aisle, and her very tall, very handsome son was dressed in a tuxedo and walked his mom down the aisle. And there was not a dry eye in the house. But that was really stretching this young man to do that. But he did it, and he is able to do so many other things, so many other skills were able to be built on top of that. And I think of another young man that we had, and his parents really wanted him to be able to sit through a movie. He loved movies at home, but they wanted him to be able to sit through a movie theater. through a movie theater movie. And the team started just by driving him into the parking lot of the movie theater, and that made him really uncomfortable, and he would protest, and they would just sit there for 5 minutes, and then slowly they worked up. They'd go to the movie theater parking lot, and he had to step out of the car, and that was hard for him, and he protested, but he was able to do that. And after about 6 months, he was able to sit through a movie and really enjoy it and get popcorn. And now he wants to go to a movie all the time. He hasn't been able to go to movies, unfortunately, for 9 months now because of COVID, but man, he cannot wait till he can go to the theaters again. And it was just really thinking about, what does the family want for him, and how can we gently, push him and get him to be able to tolerate that. And now something that was really difficult for him is one of the great joys of his life. And if he wasn't pushed, he would have never had that opportunity. And actually, we're hoping that once COVID is over, he will be able to work at a movie theater because he's very good at filling up drinks. And so we think that he can get a job in the movie theater, and that will be so exciting for him because movie theaters are one of his favorite places now. And again, it all started because the parents said, you know what, I think he would like this, but how do we get him there? And we made baby steps. But again, we had to push him every step of the way. And it's so wonderful that he had the opportunity. So again, always think about opportunities. What are the opportunities, and are there any barriers we need to get out of the way? And your ABA provider team should be able to think about that and make that happen. So thank you so much for sitting with me today. I hope that you are a nasty friend when you need to be a nasty friend, and I hope you have a nasty friend when you need to have a nasty friend. So thanks so much for being a part of Life with a Side of Autism. Please follow and share and help us grow our autism community, and I'll see you on the next video.